Good morning, Big Brother fans. It is Monday, July 13th, day 7 in the Big Brother house, and I am on my way to a meeting, and it is approximately 6:30 a.m. Big Brother time. So this is like old school me talking to you guys. I've got an update. We're doing this on my Spreaker app, not a TikTok app that I would translate. Sorry about that last Saturday, but that was the best I could do. And today you are getting the full undivided attention of me, and I've got an actual list of things to talk about. And we'll see what we can cover here. We'll see how detailed I am. We're going to catch you up all the way from the head of household competition through the upcoming Power Veto meeting that is later today. All right? So, first of all, you should know Dee, of course, is head of household. She won that as it was shown on last night's show. The competition was a fire building type of competition, which is kind of funny, but it was a puzzle, right? Not like a Survivor fire building, more like a puzzle fire building where they each picked where the three celebrity, I'm going to call them three celebrity house guests, that being Angela, Rick Devens, who goes by Devens, and Dee, they're the celebrities. They got to compete for the head of household. That was determined by, magic, by Julie, or by production. And the competition, they picked four, well, they didn't pick. They took the four groups, or the three groups of four that had previously gone on the mission back in time to find them, right? So that's how they got these three groups of four. That's 12. You have two left. You have two left over, which were Barrett and Ashley. They did not get to compete in the help in the head of household competition, so they were just standing by the wayside. But it also meant that they were not eligible to be have-nots, because the losing team, the team that placed third of the three, was automatically a have-nots along with that celebrity house guest. So that's how we arrived at Devens being a have-not, along with, this is where I got to look, I'll just do it off the top of my head, along with Chuck and Drew and Ashley and Taylor. Those are your five to have-nots. All right, so Angela came in second, and her team, as it were, basically, it went quite a while. It seemed there was several times where you thought one might win, and then the whole thing fell over, and they had to start over. So that's your have-nots. They sleep on the rotating thing, which they showed again last night. They're on their slop. We're not sure when the have-nots end. It may be that it ends tonight at midnight, because they may have been have-nots since they entered the house on last Tuesday, and usually it's a 1 week thing. So normally it would last a little bit longer into the week, but if they did indeed go on it last Tuesday, then today would be the logical day at midnight for it to end. We'll find out later today. This is not critical to the game. Then we have the nominees. They showed Dee meeting with everybody, making her nominees, and of course she's got Taylor, Yash, and Mallory nominated. And so we're going to zip through my other highlights here again. I do have a list, and I'm going to go down it, hopefully hit everything. So that's how we got nominations on Friday. A lot of that was shown on last night's show, her talking with people, but really not a whole lot. I mean, they showed Dee talking to Mallory and basically showing that they just didn't talk about a whole lot. They didn't seem to communicate, and I would assume that Mallory could tell immediately that Dee had nothing to talk to her about, so she knew, well, she's not talking game with me, she's probably going to nominate me, right? And she had a limited number of people to choose from, because you also had, in addition to, Dee's not going to put up her own, the two all-stars, or the two celebrities. She's not going to. She also couldn't put up Chuck, Rome, and was it Chuck, Rome, and who was the third? I can't think right now. The three guys that had won the competitions at the beginning that were safe. So, other notes that I have to glance down, I'm sorry. overnight, this would be Friday night, Saturday morning, we had Barrett talking with Taylor about Big Brother and all this and the application process and the how many people apply or how many people are watching. But in the process of this, Barrett tosses out that he's been on Blue Sky for a couple of years and that the app has struggles. It doesn't really struggle. He said it crashed. It doesn't really crash. But the timeline, the hashtag does get overwhelmed with BB27 last year, and it annoys other Blue Sky users. And that's, I think, more what he meant. But he said that it crashes the app because it's so busy. It's okay. The app's okay. But it is true that the hashtag does overwhelm and annoy a lot of Blue Sky users. So that excited all of us Blue Sky users to see that Barrett talked specifically about being on Blue Sky. Much appreciated. That will not make the TV show, because if we want to talk a little bit of the political landscape, with my perception, with CBS kind of being taken over by a more conservative group. They have last year we had the CBS presence was fairly strong on Blue Sky, and they had left 2 years earlier, left Twitter social media. Well, now the CBS Big Brother account is back active on Twitter and not active on Blue Sky. As a matter of fact, the CBS Twitter account on July 2nd posted, guys, I just found my password. Like I've been gone for 2 years, but I just found my password. I find it, interesting. So so Twitter is back in full Big Brother activity as far as from CBS, but there are still a lot of us that are living on Blue Sky. I did post a little bit on Twitter this beginning of this season. I just locked my account last night. And don't intend on posting much, if at all, on Twitter the remainder of the season. Not that many people care. That's just me. So we were all quite excited when Barrett talked about Blue Sky. And again, he does hang out on Blue Sky, and he does know people. I am going to, a fair warning here, I am going to have a very hard time this season not fanboying out over Barrett and Dee. I am rooting for those two, and I'm going to try not to mention this constantly, but, I do have a connection with someone that was on the same season with Dee, and that would be Brandon Donlin. And so I knew Brandon from being on Sequester, and so I'm rooting for Dee because he knows Dee very well. And then I'm rooting for Barrett because Barrett is good friends with another friend that I know from Sequester named Nick. And so, I'm kind of connected with both of those people. And so I'm rooting for both of them, and sue me. That's how it's going to go this season. Don't have a favorite unless you have some kind of remote connection to them and you know that they're good players and they may do well. And then, case fanboy all you want, and that's what I'm doing. All right. So back to Barrett mentioning Blue Sky on the feed. So that gave us a thrill Saturday when I woke up and saw it and posted it. Saturday started a little bit earlier. They actually got him up at 8 a.m., which is earlier than normal, especially for a Saturday. Usually wake-up calls around 9 a.m. On Saturday, though, it was 8 a.m., so it's like, what's up? Well, it turned out they were doing... first, they did the draw for the power veto, but they were also doing the bathing suit pictures. So they did the bathing suit pictures Saturday morning, which I don't think we've seen yet. They'll probably come out today or tomorrow or something. And then they did the draw for the power of veto players. Now remember, they have 3 nominees, and then the head of household gets to play as well. So there's only 2 people that can be drawn as long as we have 3 nominees. And this is, the newer way of doing things. So the 2 people that were drawn, and the head of household, I think, pulls both chips out, and they pull out the chip could say player's choice, right? But Barrett and Melody were the 2 extra players. And we saw immediately Barrett and Mallory talking, and Mallory was telling Barrett, she said, I want you to it'd be great because if you win it, because Barrett and Mallory have a alliance of sorts, more Mallory leaning on Barrett than Barrett leaning on Mallory, right? Barrett is happy to have Mallory as an ally, but he doesn't consider her a strong ally. We're going to get into alliances a little bit later on, where I can talk about some of them, but not all of them. There's so many things going on. But Barrett, they were talking in the storage room after Mallory left, because she said, you know what, if it's between you and me, I'll throw it, and then you can win it and save me, and then we're both safe. And then she left the storage room, and Barrett looked at the camera and was like, well, this is awkward, because I really don't want to win it. I really don't want to use it. So, in the end, Barrett didn't win it, so it didn't matter, right? So, again, they did the bathing suit pictures. They drew for the Power Veto players. Eventually, the feeds went down for the Power Veto competition. When they came back, it turns out Mallory had won the Power Veto. So Mallory is going to be safe. And she, by the way, was Dee's main target. So between Mallory, Yash, and Taylor, the target, in theory, was going to be Mallory. And now Mallory is going to be safe. So time to find a new target, right? That's the next 24 hours or 12 hours or whatever it is. So afterwards, right away afterwards, we thought Dee was going to go after Melody as her target. But over the course of Saturday, she kind of changed her tune through some work from other house guests and stuff. And now she kind of refocused her attention by Sunday on Ashley. And Ashley, remember, is from Chicago. She gave me slight Jen Johnson vibes. That's me. And she was also the one, along with Barrett, who didn't get to compete for safety and all, so they had been kind of like set off to the side, like, well, since you didn't get to compete, we're not going to go after you. Well, now Dee is having to focus on somebody, and she's like, and talking with her alliances and stuff, she's like, I think I'm going to go after Ashley. And she had that conversation with Ashley and let her know. And Ashley tried to steer her back towards Barrett, and she kind of said, yeah, I think it's going to be you, kind of a thing. I'm simplifying this, trust me. But those conversations had. She told Ashley that Yash is her end target. That's who she actually wants to go after. And so not to worry that I'm really going after Yash. I mean, but they got the battle back competition, right? So you never know how this is going to work out. If Yash wins it, and Ashley's quite worried because she hasn't done any kind of real competitions, because she didn't compete in the Power Veto, she didn't compete in the head of household, she didn't get to go to the back in time to compete for individual immunity, right? So she's missed out on competitions, and Yash has done all of those, I believe. No, Yash did not. Yes, Yash is nominated, so Yash has competed in all of those things. So while Dee is saying Yash is going to be the target, we're a very long way from Thursday. We're a very long way from getting a Power Veto competition to happen. It's hard saying for sure where things are going to stand, but we'll talk a lot between now and then, right? All right, so other things of note. That's kind of where we're at. The Power Veto meeting is going to be held today, Monday, probably sometime early in the afternoon, especially since nominations seem to be the process seems to be pretty well locked, right? We're pretty 99% sure. We know Mallory's going to use the Power Veto on herself, and 99.9% sure that Dee is going to put up Ashley in Mallory's place. So there's no need for production to hold things up while last-minute negotiations go on, and there's a possible flip, which we have seen happen sometimes in the past. So I would expect early on in the afternoon, our time, maybe 2 p.m., 3 p.m. Eastern time. Maybe the meeting happens around noonish or 1ish. I can't remember. People would tell me it always happens at this time. I don't know. Usually happens sometime around noonish Big Brother time or in the early afternoon. And then we'll have the fallout and the flipping and the yada yada and all that kind of stuff. But that's where we're at. Other things of note. Yesterday, things that happened. So this is one of those big things of note to me. Barrett goes up to talk to Dee alone in the head of household room. There's lots of check-ins with Dee at various times and each other's. And within about 5 minutes, they're holding hands. They're sitting on the couch holding hands and talking. Now, I think Barrett is labeling it as a flirtmance. But pretty wild. Pretty wild to see that going on. And they were just talking and flirting. It was very fun to watch. And don't forget, we also have an actual showmance going on between Lyric, who you haven't heard me mention all, and Rome, who you've barely heard me mention. They're kind of side characters right now because neither of them are up for nomination, and they aren't in the strong alliance. They are in alliance. No, they aren't even in a big alliance, right? No, they're kind of super side characters right now. They'll play a part, I'm sure, soon enough. But right now, they aren't in play this week, except for being in a showmance. So we didn't see, they just were touchy-feely. It was just a very flirty thing and just very interesting. And as I have already mentioned, I am fanboying over both of them. And so it's like, whoa, this is wild to see the two of them flirting with each other. And I'm quite happy and excited and a bit concerned about it too, just because it can cause problems. But I think they're both very smart players. All right, so that was going on. Then another thing I have noted, the BB time capsule. We learned about it we learned more details on it on Friday. This is a weird thing, okay? It has no effect this week. The first time it's going to have an effect is probably going to be on Friday. So there's voting going on, I think, right now through Friday morning. And you vote for your favorite player, right? You want your player who has a chance. And that player will be one of 6 over the course of the next 6 weeks that has an opportunity to compete. And in this competition, I think they're going to bring in previous house guests or something, right? Previous alumni. And they will compete for either a prize or a punishment. We don't know what they're going to be. But this will happen. I think it's going to happen on Fridays. They'll reveal it on Sundays. We don't know details. Maybe they'll give them a power. Maybe they'll have to wear a stupid costume, right? That's the kind of level that we're at. We just don't know for sure what exactly is going to be involved. And the voting is going on right now, but the first time it happens isn't going to be till Friday, and again, to be shown on Sunday. So that is what the time capsule thing is. So we'll see when this all plays out later this week. And the person can win, whoever wins it is then ineligible to win the rest of the time, right? So that's why they keep saying your favorite can only win once. All right, I don't care about this. It's a sideshow thing. It could give someone powers and it could hurt someone's game, but I just don't care. And we don't really know what it is, so it's hard to vote for something when you don't know what it is, right? Another thing I have noted here is nicknames. So if you are venturing online and you're trying to figure out what's going on, you may see a few names thrown about that you're like, who are they talking about? Now, one of those names is being used within the house and even on Unlocked. I think I saw it on Unlocked last night. I saw Taylor say it when I was watching because I didn't watch Unlocked or the rest of Unlocked until last night. But Lulu. Lulu is Latrice. Latrice is the 57 to soon to be 58-year-old. She turns 58, I think, on Tuesday. Matter of fact, she just got some birthday party present stuff ready to have a birthday party, I think, on Tuesday. So, but Latrice is Lulu. That name is probably going to be the one you're going to hear the most in the house, or maybe mentioned in the diary room, or however they say it. So don't be surprised if I start saying Lulu as well, but that is Latrice. Another nickname, and this is where we get into a little bit of personal controversy, would be Timu. All right? Timu, if you see that online, if you see someone saying, what is up with Timu, it is not a mashup of 2 house guests that are in a showmance. It is simply a play on the name Camu, however you say his name. He's a former MMA fighter and apparently says now he's a coach, right? And a lot of people, for various reasons, do not care for him. First of all, he's kind of one of the bros. He may also be fairly right-leaning as far as politicals, and that upsets a lot of people in the world that I'm running around with, especially on Blue Sky. And almost immediately, someone, and I'm sure it was possibly even more than one, came up with the nickname of Timu, and it was because they felt like everything he did was cheap. He's the cheaper version of whatever you want to say, okay? So Timu being the Chinese online, Amazon and everything is super cheap on Temu. They're calling Kemu Temu. All right, so you will see that nickname out there. That's who that is. I don't use it because I think it confuses other people that don't understand that whole backstory that I just told you. As a matter of fact, I had to ask, who is Temu? Because I didn't understand it. So there you go. The last nickname that I have seen thrown around out there quite a bit, matter of fact, it was even trending on Blue Sky yesterday at one point, is Thog. And that is a nickname that has been given to Haley. Haley, from, I think is from Texas, who's a former softball player. Her last name is actually Thog Martin. And so people have now started calling her Thog. She is not called Thog in the house. She's not called Thog, I don't think, before she went in the house. It is just a nickname that people came up with. And personally, I feel like they came up with it because it's like a ugh. I mean, Thog. It's just ugh. And I was having a discussion with my wife about this. I was like, I think it's like, it's meant to be mean. Again, in part because she, like Kemu, apparently maybe a little bit right-leaning, and I say a little bit, maybe she may be MAGA, she may be whatever. I don't too much care about politics inside the freaking house, right? I just want to watch and play a game. But the fans do care. Some of the fans do care. And so I feel like Thog was meant to be a mean nickname. And as my wife said to me when I put it, I said, people are defending it, saying, no, it's just a fun thing. She said, yeah, when people defend it, it's because they know that they're being mean. So it is what it is, folks. I'm not calling her Thog, but you'll see it online. That's where it's coming from. It is her last name abbreviated. If CBS ever does it, then you'll know that they're buying fully into it. But it is not. It's going to stick around. That name is sticking hard. Alliances. It was what did they call them last night? They showed them on the show. I didn't have a name when I wrote this list, though, because I hadn't seen the show. The crossover alliance. This is the alliance, at least for now, to watch out for. And this is the three celebrities, Angela, Dee, and Devins, along with Barrett and Drew. We figured this alliance out on Saturday or Friday, whenever it was. It's like, oh, this is a strong alliance. These people are game players. Obviously, the three celebrities are just a no-brainer alliance. Anybody who, and I'm sorry, people online are just like, some people were surprised that people within the house are figuring it out. And it's like, if they didn't figure it out, they're not a very good game player, because the first three players that are going to get together are the three players that have played before, because there's this whole saying, game recognizes game, right? They all respect each other to a certain level because they've all been through the battles. They've all done a reality show on TV. They know what it's like. They know all kinds of inner workings. They are going to respect each other to a certain level, and that level is, we'll respect each other for a while, but sooner or later the gloves are going to come off. But they are probably not going to try to cut each other's throats too soon. They're going to wait for a few weeks to get down the road a little bit. So that is going on, and it's just obvious. And so they've added Drew and Barrett to that mix, and I don't know how Drew necessarily feels about it. I think Drew kind of suspects that he may not be he may not be super tight, but he's part of that alliance. Barrett actually said it on last night's show, because he was technically the fifth person added to that alliance. He was not in the room when the alliance was made, and they let him know that he was a part of it. And he even said it on last night's show, on last night's episode. He says, am I aware that I was not in the room when the alliance was made? Yes, I am. Kind of a thing like, I'm aware that I wasn't a part of it when it was made, or I was not in the room when it was made, but I'm not saying no to it. But he's not a dummy. He knows it's a very strong alliance, but he also knows that it's, he's on the edge of it. But it's a 5-person alliance. It's okay with 17 people in the house to be on the edge of a 5-person alliance. They're not going to throw you under the bus anytime soon. So there's that alliance. Then there's this Red Corner alliance, which is the combination of Kemu, Chuck, Ashley, Dee, and Devins. I didn't realize the Devons part until late yesterday, and then it was shown on the TV show as well, which is basically a keeper alliance that Dee and Devons are happy to be a part of, just to kind of keep those people close to them, but they're not loyal to that alliance at all, other than to keep themselves safe, right? That is called the Red Corner Alliance. Red Corner is the term for the fighting ring when you are on the winner's side. The champion comes out of the red corner, the challenger comes out of the blue corner. So they're basically saying, we're the champions. And there's the Mama's Angels that formed last night at one point, and that is Rome, Jason, and Latrice. That's a throwaway alliance that is only good for a very short time, but it should make Dolphica's alliance chart, right? And then, of course, for the Lyric Rome showmance that I mentioned, there are lots of other alliances going. Jason's been active. Jason is not playing a very clean game right now, though, so it's kind of disappointing, but he was on Drag Race. He's not a reality game show, competition player. That's what I've got for right now, and I am almost to my destination. We are 26 minutes in, so we're going to sign off on my biggest, longest, first, maybe whatever, Monday podcast, letting you guys know what's going on. I will be active all the time now. Every day I should be doing one of these. I may be sometimes converting a TikTok video to audio, or however I do it. I need to record a TikTok video and throw it up on Instagram as well yet today. We'll get to it. But again, Power Veto meeting is today. We're expecting Mallory to save herself and Ashley to go up, and then we will have the traditional, Tuesday, Wednesday goings on until we get to a final Thursday eviction show. So strap in, buckle up, get ready. We are off and running, folks. Hope you have a good rest of your day. And unless something major happens, for those of you that only listen to the podcast, I will talk to you all tomorrow. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.